Welcome back, everyone. Well, the polls show it is anyone's race. Former Governor Mitt Romney, President Obama locked in a tight race, a war of words, campaign stops, and on the airwaves. 2 weeks after the president kicked off a bus tour in Maumee, Mitt Romney making 2 appearances in Toledo. Wednesday, raising campaign cash at the Toledo Club, a big fundraiser there, then appearing at a town hall in Bowling Green that really turned into a major pep rally for the former Massachusetts governor. And afterward, I sat down to talk with the presumptive GOP nominee. We began with the topic that really dominated the headlines all week. Governor Romney, let's get straight to this tax return situation if we can. If this is truly a distraction for your campaign and calls from conservative publications, prominent officials, prominent Republicans say, let's just get it out there, get rid of that distraction and move on. How come you won't?
You know, we have put out all of the information required by law about my financial investments and putting out 2 years of tax returns. I can assure you the Obama campaign is going to do everything in their power to try and distract from the issues that people care about. And the issues people care about are jobs and good schools. We put out the same tax years, 2 years, that John McCain put out 4 years ago. And there's always the effort on the part of the Democrats to say, give us more so we can sort through it and see if we can't find some other shiny object to distract the people from the issue people care about, which is the economy.
And talking about the economy, a Fox News poll says 54, or I should say 43% of the people said President Obama is the better person to fix the economy. You're on the bottom end of that. That's a Fox News poll. Are you having difficulty getting your message out on how to repair or continue the economic recovery?
This is a campaign that's going to be going on for some months. As people start focusing on this campaign, you're going to see them understanding where President Obama and I stand on issues. And they'll look at the president's record. He has failed over the last 41 months to get unemployment below 8%. And his policies are not encouraging job creation. They're in fact distressing it and making it more difficult for job creators to build enterprises. My policies will get Ohio working again, will get America working again. And that's why overall I'm doing pretty well, and the folks that know me pretty well. And I think this is going to be a campaign that comes down to who has the confidence of the American people that they can create good jobs and rising incomes again, because you know what? The middle income class in America is struggling. And it's time for a president that understands that and will make job creation their first priority.
How do you plan to win Ohio? Well, we know history tells us if you don't win here, you don't win. How do you plan to win?
You got to win Ohio. And winning Ohio means talking to people here about what they care about. And the reason I'm in this race is that I care about the same thing that middle-class voters in Ohio care about. I care about a stronger economy with better jobs, good jobs for kids coming out of college, coming out of high school, better jobs for families, rising incomes again. You can't get incomes going up when you have high levels of unemployment because employers aren't bidding against each other to hire people. I want so many good jobs growing in this country again that you have rising incomes and a better and prosperous future for the coming generation.
Can you tell thousands of people in Toledo, Ohio, and in the surrounding area, Lucas County, Wood County, here in Wood County, that the auto bailout did not work? Some people are going back to work. More people will go back to work at Toledo Jeep. How did the bailout not work?
Well, my proposal was very simple, which is don't just write checks to the companies. They need to go through a managed bankruptcy, and then you give them help. Finally, the president came around to that way of thinking and took them through managed bankruptcy. That was the right course. Then they got help, and the companies have come back. So the process that we're seeing now is a result of exactly what I proposed, which is go through managed bankruptcy and then help.
You raised $100 million back in June. The Obama campaign fell about $30 million short of that. You're going to raise hundreds of millions more before November. At the end of the day, is it down to who's the best fundraiser or who's the best person to lead the country?
Isn't it sad that in the post-Watergate era, one candidate for president decided to break the precedent all of the candidates had followed, which is to live by the federal spending limits and have the federal matching dollars, and that was President Obama. He was the one that broke this and said he was going to raise unlimited amounts. And so we've got to try and keep up. I think it's unfortunate. I wish we could instead spend our time meeting one-to-one with people rather than spending as much time as we have to raising funds. But to be competitive, and I'm going to be competitive with President Obama. I'm not going to let him overwhelm the airwaves. We have to be out there raising money, and I think it's unfortunate. And I'm surprised that people in the president's party didn't call him out for his decision not to abide by the federal spending limits.
It's going back and forth now. It's gotten ugly. It's gotten nasty on both sides.
will it eventually get back to who Mitt Romney is to lead the country? Or is this about bashing the president? Is it about the president bashing you?
Well, the president is smearing me on a personal basis, and I'm talking about his positions on issues where I disagree with them. We'll talk about his views on the economy, what he's done. I think his views, for instance, taking the work requirement out of welfare, I think that's a problem. I think taking money, government money, and using it to support businesses in which he had campaign contributors, I think that's a problem. I think, for instance, him having 100 fundraisers in the last 6 months and not one meeting with his job council, I think that's a problem. But these all relate to his job. They're not attacks on him personally. I'm not going back to all the personal stuff people used to talk about. His on me are all personal attacks. Someday I hope he gets down to talking about issues.
Former Massachusetts Governor, likely GOP nominee Mitt Romney. And when we come back, we'll get comments on that interview and much more in Take 3 with Tom Troy and London Mitchell as the race rolls on for the White House. We're back in just a minute.